Hey guys, this is Thomas Brown, and welcome to the Thomas Vision Podcast. I'm a filmmaker currently based in Atlanta, and this podcast consists of conversations with the professionals I meet along the way. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Thomas Brown here on the Thomas Vision Podcast. I have to tell you guys, for the people listening in, we are in our brand new podcast studio, and we're really excited about it. And we're also excited about our guest that we have today. They are pastors, officiants, marriage counselors, and I've worked with them several times, but we really haven't gotten a chance to talk because we're always doing a wedding. I'm filming, and as soon as that ceremony's over, I'm going to get either couple shots or reception shots. So why don't you two introduce yourselves for the people who are listening and watching?
And I'll go ahead and introduce. Well, actually, this is my wonderful wife for the last 33 years.
Awesome.
We've actually been together for about 37 years.
Congrats.
We dated for a few years prior to getting married. Larraine Forrester and I'm Michael Forrester. And, we're just really happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming.
So, definitely. And we thoroughly enjoy working with you. And like you said, after the wedding, we were both going in different directions.
You probably see the photographer more than me because the photographer always puts the shots with you guys, with the couples. Mm-hmm. But so I want to start things off with. Okay. So, I filmed a lot of toasts. I think right now, I definitely filmed over 200 weddings. I'm not sure what the exact number is. But at a lot of toasts, you always hear either the best man or the bride's, maid of honor or the bridesmaid or the groomsman. Someone will give a toast and they'll say, and make sure that you never go to bed angry. And I have to tell you, I've been married. My wife and I are about to hit 11 years. Mm-hmm. And I will say that I'm a talker. Mm-hmm. So I just want to talk. I'll talk my wife ear off and she's quiet. So I've learned that sometimes I have to go to bed angry just so I could be quiet and then so I could sleep it off. Yeah. And then, wake up with a new perspective, And so what do you guys take on that? Should you go to bed angry? Should you not go to bed angry? How do couples kind of work that out?
The preference really would be, to be able to resolve the issues before you go to sleep. But that's not going to be in all instances. There are going to be times where you just need to table some issues to the next day. And prayerfully, you'll be able to, get to it early in the day so it's not being thrown into days and days and days where you're not speaking to each other. But definitely, 24 hours, 48 hours, that's not bad, sometimes to be able to let things rest and settle for that short period of time and then, readdress it. But we definitely want to get back because we don't want these situations compounding, each other. So we definitely want to have the conversation.
Exactly.
Right? But, and I think too, sometimes when we have time to think, the likelihood that we can reach some type of resolve is, heightened. So,
yeah. And a lot of times we think we have to settle it right now. We want everything done now. And what really should happen is that we take a time to step back. So we can go to bed not angry, or we can be angry and sin not. So the sin would come in when we're not speaking to each other. So we go to bed, we don't speak to each other, we sleep in separate rooms. That's the thing not to do. Okay. But what we should do, if we had a big disagreement, what we're going to do is, okay, babe, let's talk about this tomorrow. Let's go ahead and watch a movie. So you put that, like my husband said, you table that. So then you reconnect on the level that you love each other and that you will handle that situation tomorrow.
Okay. And one of the things too, really is a staple of what we do and, our ministry. We always encourage couples to pray together every day. So in our case, and we always encourage couples to pray at the start of the day. And I think, most times, because you are, challenged to go ahead and do it like you should at the start of the day, most of us, we don't want to go into, into prayer, with that stuff, still in our heart. Yeah. So, we're able to kind of, look at things a little bit better because, we are supposed to, reconnect with prayer every day. So, we always encourage couples. Yeah, that's also a method that they can move past a lot of issues.
And that's awesome. And I think that is great. And I'm definitely gonna. I'm telling you, I don't have my notepad out, but I'm taking notes. And so I'm gonna go back to my wife, and I'm like, man, we are refreshing things today. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to ask you guys. I know we have some things that you guys want to touch on as well, but I wanted to talk to you guys about how. Well, first, how did you become pastors. What's that story like? My father's a pastor. And also then why weddings? Why officiate weddings? So
wow. So why pastors? So that was never in my life plan, and it wasn't ever in my husband's life plan. Neither were the things that we encountered during year 9, 10, and 11. And that's where we went to hell, and we were able to come out of hell. And when we came out, we realized that it was in God's plan. So I had an assignment from my instructor when I was going to college. The assignment was to start an organization, a fake organization. And the organization that came to mind, because relationships were weighing heavy on me, was a relationship ministry. And the acronym was ARM, as if you're arming yourself. So shortly after that, long story short, my husband and I went through hell. One of the pastors at our church asked us to teach premarital classes, knowing that we had made it through some stuff. And we committed to doing that. It was a mega church, so we saw about 15 couples every 8 weeks. And in that, the couples would come back and ask us to be their mentors. And we did. And on Saturday morning, we would have 5 or 6 couples coming in and out of the house. I know our neighbors were wondering what was happening. But ultimately, we were licensed and then ordained as ministers. And marriage is our passion, because we made the commitment together that if we were to make it through those years of hell, that we would always avail ourselves to be there for other couples and help them to determine some ways to make it through things.
And does doing the counseling help strengthen your marriage? Is it like doing this and working with couples all the time? Does that help bring you guys closer together?
Well, I would have to say that, because we do spiritual, counseling, I believe that it does at times, take a toll on our relationship, because you're pouring out so much. And if we're not taking the time to refresh or replenish, it can take a toll. Right? So we have to be, cognizant of that to make sure that we are doing something to feed our own relationship.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So we do a lot of praying.
Okay.
And we're together about 24 hours most days. And some days I'll tell him, babe, I need to go to the library, go to the mall. Or he'll tell me, babe, I'm going outside, cut the grass. I'm like, you just cut the grass 2 days ago. So we do take our time out for doing things individually. So, and we have to do that. And we make sure we're intentional about loving each other consistently.
That's awesome. Well, I know you guys have some things coming up that you wanted to discuss as well. So what exciting workshops do you have coming up?
So one of the most exciting things that's going to happen in the next couple of months is that we're going to do our CUTE workshop. And CUTE is the acronym. I love acronyms. It's committed, unmovable, trusting, and exalting. And expecting, so you can use that E twice. But what we do during those workshops, we have couples come in. If they are engaged, they'll get a certificate that shows that they've been through the 6 hours of training. And when they go to apply for their marriage license, they will get a discount on their marriage license. So say, I think it's in DeKalb County, it's $56 or $60. You get it for $16 once you go through the training. The training consists of those things that may cause problems in a relationship. So, of course, we talk about communication. We help couples to determine some positive ways to communicate. We don't think that it's healthy to be in a relationship and not have some back and forth, some issues that you have to discuss, because we feel at that point in communication, you're yielding. So you're not being true to yourself or true to your mate. So we talk about communication. We talk about how you can fight. We talk about how you can love and how you can keep the love going in your communication. And a lot of people don't realize that part of communication is making love or having sex. So that's one of the reasons that God created that, so that we could communicate on a level that we don't communicate with anyone else on. So we definitely talk about communication. We talk about sex. We talk about the frequency that's necessary. We talk about the how do you describe it, when it's Good. We talk about all things concerning sex, whether you're young or whether you're mature, how to keep that exciting in the marriage. We talk about forgiveness. A lot of times things go unsaid and undone. And we've counseled people who've been married for over 40 years. And they still remember what happened back in 1969,
Yeah. Well, yeah, before we go on, let's touch on like the communication. Let's kind of touch on each part. So now when myself or my wife, I won't say who. Oh, really, Google? Stop. Forgets to put gas in the car.
Yeah.
The other one, we shouldn't just yell at them. Like, come on, every time I'm taking this car out, you forget to put gas in the car. How would you guys approach something like that?
Well, for me, I think the man should always put the gas in the car.
Oh!
To think about that, there is, sometimes humor is the best way to handle a situation like that, where you think of something humorous to say about the gas or something. How can you say it in such a way that your mate will be receptive to, I need to do better in doing this, whether it's putting gas in the car, cooking dinner, leaving the remote in the right place, whatever the case is. You think of, how can I say this in a way that they're going to receive it? And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's definitely it. The way that we present things. And if we're able to learn to present it with humor, that's normally the best method. Because, grown people, none of us want to be chastised about things that we've, forgotten or anything like that. And I think we'll be able to, get more if we can kind of sweeten it up a little bit in the way that we communicate it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So now the next thing you mentioned was intimacy in a relationship.
Yes.
Now, for some people, I know they may grow apart and things. So how do you, go about, and I know you're going to, you go more in depth in your workshop, but how do you just like kind of start those first steps into kind of coming back together?
So if it's two different things, whether you're coming back together or you're growing apart. First, to prevent growing apart is going to be, of course, the best thing. To implement things that you do on a regular basis where it becomes your habit, it becomes your routine. And that's one thing that a lot of couples miss out on, the fact that we need to create things that make our comfort zone. And then when I'm outside of that comfort zone, then I feel uncomfortable. So I'm trying to get back to it. So if you have a routine, people hate to think about sexual intimacy and routine or scheduling, but that's okay because it makes sure, it helps you to remember to keep it at the forefront of your mind. If my husband and I said, you know what, we're going to make sure that every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday is our day, then it's going to happen. Tuesday may happen too, but we have those locked in, and that's okay, especially the way we live today. We're doing 100 different things, and unless we put something on the calendar, it may get skipped.
So you got to get rid of the kids those days. You find a babysitter or something.
Sometimes you get rid of the kids. Sometimes they're just downstairs.
Okay,
but turn the music up loud so you don't.
No, that's real. That's real.
That's exactly.
Got to make time for each other.
And it's very good to keep in mind that spontaneity is definitely something that should be welcomed when it comes to intimacy. It is a very serious part of our relationship, whether we are in our younger years or older years. We have to make sure that it's happening, and we shouldn't get set in our ways where, oh, that's okay, it doesn't matter. But then what's the difference between that relationship and you and another friend, if you're not intimate?
And, to your point earlier, in terms of maintaining is better than trying to repair, right? Because, oftentimes what happens when the divide is there, it's much harder to bridge it, than just, doing, even if it requires that scheduling, right? To, keep it intact. So, it's always important to maintain as opposed to, try to repair.
Yes.
All right. Well, all right. I'm excited about this one. I'm learning. So what's next?
So in addition to the those topics that we'll be talking about, we also talk about finances during the workshop. We talk about spirituality. There are a lot of different beliefs, and people are connecting even though they have different beliefs. So
we got to go back to this finance. We got to go back to finance now. We can't just skip over stuff for my podcasters. I mean, we want them to come to your podcast. I mean, your workshop as well. but we got to hit him with a little bit. So
Yes.
with finance, I know finance can be a struggle for a lot of people. And I've heard from, now I'll tell you my wife was a senior financial analyst for about 18 years. So she handles all the money, right? But I know some of my friends, because they're the man, but they're not good with money, but they won't let their wife, who may be better with the money, take kind of control of their books.
Yeah.
So how does a couple like that kind of, come together and get on the same page with the finances, and he's just not going out buying big screen TVs, with their, electric money. So let's talk about
so that's where, again, communication is very important in finances. And we have different gifts, as you said. One person may be better, the wife may be better at managing finances than the husband is. But that does not negate him from learning.
Okay.
So, and that's where you sit down. Everything concerning your household as husband and wife should be a conversation, a regular conversation. So when we talk about finances, definitely each of you come to the table with different experiences. One may had everything they wanted growing up, and one might have not had a biscuit, So you have to come together and figure out where you are, and then set some standards for your household and your finances. You talk about, what do you want to invest? You talk about, even if the wife is managing or the husband is managing, the other spouse should sit down on a regular basis.
So you should have meetings.
So exactly.
Absolutely.
You should definitely have meetings.
If not bi-weekly, at least monthly, that you're having that conversation.
Yeah, because we have had several different situations where, God forbid, in these situations it happened, where one of them who was managing the money had everything and they were controlling it, but they were in a position where they couldn't get to it. One person, unfortunately, was locked up for like a night or two, and then another person was in a coma. So in those situations, your spouse has to know what to do. You don't need to have to call your spouse's mom to figure out how you're going to pay the mortgage, So those conversations have to take place. So definitely meetings.
All right, that's awesome. All right, so what's next?
So in addition to that, we talk about all those things, parenting, family, blending families, and that's a big thing definitely in our culture today, blending families. So we talk about what's the best practices for your household. Yeah. And we have to understand that marriage is not a cookie cutter thing.
Of course,
It definitely depends on you and the filters that you bring to the table. So we talk about all those things in the workshop. That's going to be on October 6th. And we do them quarterly, pretty much. So, it's for the pre-married, the seriously engaged, and for the married couples. In addition to that, my husband and I, as you mentioned, are both wedding officiants. So we're always officiating weddings. I think we have a little bit over 600 weddings that we've officiated.
That's amazing.
We really enjoy it. And doing that, my husband is a minister, I'm a minister, so either of us or both of us together can officiate the ceremonies. And with that being the case, sometimes couples enjoy doing the premarital counseling with us, where we meet just with the couples for those 6 sessions. And then both of us will officiate the ceremony. When we do that, though we've done it several times, a lot of guests, friends, and family members come up to us afterwards and say, I've never seen that before. I really like that idea, because I'm giving the charge to the bride. My husband's giving the charge to the groom. So we do the officiant services. We also do low-key wedding planning, day of coordinating.
Oh, okay.
We have been to a lot of weddings that the timing was way off, started an hour or so late. You got people sitting out in the sun for an hour, and different things have happened during planning that could have been done a little bit better. So since we've seen so many weddings, we put together a planning team, and we have a team of people that come in and help us do either the day of or planning from the first day, whether it's a year out or whatever the case may be. So we do those, and we enjoy everything about marriage, period.
Well,
definitely.
Go ahead.
No, just going to add, just kind of going back to the premarital, just oftentimes with guys, we're a little bit apprehensive about, having people in our business and having those conversations about our relationships. stuff like
Ain't
that.
nothing wrong with me. I don't need no
Right.
counseling.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to just encourage guys. Whenever we find ourselves in situations where we need some help, we need to reach out, because oftentimes when we're able to get a neutral perspective, it does shed new light on some things.
And I think you're right. And I'm not, I guess stereotyping, but I think a lot of times when it comes to the counseling, in a lot of cases, it may be the woman in the relationship that wants to take her husband to counseling. So for those instances where the husband may be reluctant to go, how can she kind of go about kind of pulling him to, go in that direction and work on themselves?
What has worked for us, normally when I meet with a woman one-on-one, because her husband decides he doesn't need counseling or he doesn't want counseling. So I will speak with her and give her some things that she can do to help him to buy into it, and not in a manipulative way, but in a way that he sees that there's a need. And a lot of times the things that I encourage her to change, first and foremost, will encourage him to come in and see what it is all about. With my husband, oftentimes we share with the wife, if you let him know there's a male there who's been through pretty much anything your husband's been through, so we won't take sides. He will also support, from that perspective. And so a lot of times guys will come into our office. They love the environment. Sometimes the guys come in and they're just talking. They come in, arms folded. They're mad. They even argued all the way there because he didn't want to be there. And he's thinking, I'm not going to say a word when I get in here. But then they start talking. They feel comfortable because they know that we're not judgmental. We share with them details of our story that make them say, wow, I'm not that bad. Yeah. So then they feel freer to talk. And oftentimes we get that comment from guys that, wow, this was a lot different than I thought it would be. And we give all that praise to God. We have to. We know it's not about what we do, but it's what the vision that God has given us. So the guys come in. They get some information, things they can do. They're heard. A lot of times, as women, we enjoy talking. So when you're talking, you're not listening, right? So a lot of times, even though we mean well, we're not listening. I know my husband may say something to me like, babe, I want this remote to stay right here. And then I'll come along and say, you know what, let's put it over there in that box. And he's like, okay. And then the next thing, he'll tell me, babe, I want this. And I'll say, no, let's do it this way. He'll say, okay. And then 6 months later, he's like, and my remote and that box and that, and I'm like, I didn't know it was that serious. So we have to learn that when men say it, they mean it. But because they love you, they don't want to argue and fight with you about it. So a lot of times we don't listen. So when men hear that in sessions, they're like, yeah, this is a place that I can talk and be heard. So I think that that's encouraging for a lot of husbands and husbands to be.
Like I said, obviously, I'm the talker, so I got to learn to listen to my wife a lot more. Especially when it's like taking out that trash.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to play some Call of Duty or something like that.
Yes.
What's more important?
Right.
A Call of Duty? No.
Time management. Yes.
So I know we wanted to definitely touch on those points, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about you guys. Sure. What do you guys outside? And I know you guys are doing a lot with the, pastoring, officiating, counseling. But what do you guys do for fun? Like when you're not doing weddings? Yeah.
And before I answer that, let me just say this stuff. With the pastoring, I'm going to give you a brief definition. Okay. We're both ordained ministers, which in some religions, we are referred to as reverends. Some who are not ordained are referred to as ministers. Okay. For us, we're not in church doing the work that we're doing, so people will come to us and they'll say, I don't reverence any man. So that's cool with me. I agree. So minister, they are not comfortable with that because they're not affiliated with a church. Why should I call you a minister? So pastor is a person who takes care of God's people. Okay. So that's why we're pastors. We don't have a specific church. Okay. We have a counseling office, but we're not thrown out of shape if you call us Larraine and Michael, or if you call us pastor or minister or reverend, it's up to you. We don't get caught up in the title. I posted, my Facebook for a long time had Pastor Larraine Forrester. Someone reported me and said she's not a pastor. I didn't send my licensing that said I'm a pastor, but I went ahead and took it off because if that was bothering them, I took it off. And then I realized God showed me that some people don't connect with those titles. So
some people just
wanted
want
to clarify that.
Life, I have to be honest.
And
but that was nice of you. I would have left it on because you are a pastor, and I get it. But like I said, I really wanted to learn more about you as well, the people, behind what you do. So what is it that you guys like take an interest in outside of what you guys? And I know that takes up a lot of your time as well.
It does, yeah.
Well, for me, I really just, when I do have downtime, I just like to chill at the house, get things.
Your homebody?
Kind of like to get things done around the house, but I have to kind of meet my wife in the middle. She likes to.
Well, are you a fix-it man though?
Yeah.
So you like fixing everything around the house? And
I enjoy it. And
he fixes, he sews, he cooks. He fixes cars.
Yeah, because you about to go back to your wife. I want to learn about you.
No, but that's stuff that I enjoy doing. My wife says, "Well, pay somebody to do it." I said, "Well, I get satisfaction in doing it myself." But yeah, so that's what I enjoy doing.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm Jamaican.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a yardie,
Yeah, my wife and I did a wedding. We got to do a wedding in the grill. So what part of Jamaica are you from?
I'm from Kingston.
Kingston, okay.
Harborview. But I've been here for...
That's on the same island, right? It's on the Negrill's on the other side of the island, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It's on the... Negrill's on the north coast. So...
and the accent came out. He got excited.
Yeah, but I've been in the U.S. for a lot of years. Love reggae music. I enjoy, reggae concerts when they're available. As a matter of fact, they have one coming, Barris Hammond, on the 23rd of this month, so I'm really kind of hoping to.
So you know the song "Sorry"
yeah,
is all that he can say.
As a matter of fact, I was listening to that yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm from New York, so we was really into reggae back, especially back in the days, my high school days.
But love reggae. My wife, she loves Frankie Beverly, so every time Frankie is in town, we have to.
You go and see the concert?
Yes. Yes.
But this really just kind of like hanging out. I do like hanging out, whenever I can.
Yeah. And we do a lot with our kids too, who are adults now. We are blessed that they enjoy doing couple-like things, and they ask us to come along. So whether we're going to Top Golf or whether we're going at their house with some of their couple friends and just hanging out, so we like to do that, and we like concerts. And
well, let's talk about the golf real quick. Are you guys competitive as a couple when it comes to like golf and things like that?
I'm not.
Who won the last game? No? You guys bowl? Because my wife and I, we like bowling, and we're competitive when we bowl against each other.
Yeah.
I want to win. Okay.
I will say this. In terms of like sporting things like that, I'm not very competitive. Not like that. But when it comes to, let's say, board games, things of that nature.
Scrabble.
Very, Jeopardy.
He's a Jeopardy.
Are you into those games as well?
Scrabble, I am. Yeah.
So who's the best at Scrabble?
He probably wins. I play more.
For the fun?
He probably wins. Most of the time he wins by like 5 points. So we do that. We play spades too.
Man, you lucky. Man, I didn't bring the cards right here, right now.
The preacher plays cards.
And that's something I didn't definitely enjoy.
He's very competitive with spades. Sometimes there was a time that I wouldn't be on his team because he'd be so mad at me. But we definitely enjoy a lot more board games, and he's very competitive with spades.
Oh man, well, one day we're gonna have to come out to bring my friend from New York. Have to make you guys renege.
Yeah, see, that would be me.
That would be.
So, but for you, I know you said you enjoy a lot of the things like the board games and things. Do you have anything like when you taking time to yourself that you like to do?
When I was in my early 20s, I said that one day I'm going to get me a guitar and go sit down in 5 points on, where little 5 points is.
Yeah.
And sit on a beach and play my guitar. I enjoy so many. I said beach, didn't I?
Yeah.
Bench.
Because
I like the beach too.
Because I was thinking, I was like, what is there?
She loves
the
beach.
Yeah.
She loves the beach.
I love the beach. That's my happy place.
So Miami, you go there a lot?
Yes, his family lives in Miami now. Yeah.
But she loves Destin.
Yeah, that's my happy place.
Nice.
Destin is.
So have you taken your guitar on the bench or the beach
I
yet?
have not. The guitar is in the closet, and I haven't taken it out there yet.
15 years ago.
All right, we're gonna have you back on here.
I didn't say I could actually play it, but I
no, I don't know if we want to.
I can play it, but that's my dream. But I'm a creative spirit to say all of that. I enjoy painting. I enjoy music, concerts, just hanging out like at Piedmont Park. Just being around people. I like to people watch. I'm that person. I can adapt to just about any situation. Yeah.
My daughter and I are into people watching.
Yeah.
Now we're probably not doing it right because we might be talking about that too.
See, no, that's not right. I'm just observing. Yeah.
I mean, they don't hear us,
yeah.
but But let me tell you, I'm so glad that you guys came onto the podcast. If people want to learn more about your workshop, or if people want to follow your journeys, where can they go?
They can find us on Instagram. A.R.M. They can also find us on Facebook, A Relationship Ministry. Our office is located in downtown Stone Mountain. The counseling sessions that we do them either in our offices or we do them via Skype, FaceTime, or Zoom. So we have clients in Hawaii. We have clients in Iraq. Different places all over the world, all over the United States. Sometimes with military, one may be in one place and the other in another place, and we counsel them. They can find us pretty much anywhere with the social media, or they can go to our website, A Relationship Ministry.
And I'll have everything in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for being our very first
Thank you for having
guest in our new podcast room. We worked really hard on this room. We still have a few more things we want to do. We want to add a few more lights and things, but pretty much we are done. And we are just so excited. So thank you guys for visiting us.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed listening in today, consider subscribing to the podcast. See you next time.